We have rapidly come to the end of November, and is all that it seems out there in the motorhome market when you are looking for used vehicles. Are we being confused by the discounts being offered? Are there genuine bargains to be had? And is it a good time to be buying a motorhome? Well, welcome back to the Two Guys, Two Dogs, Four Wheels, and we are here today to bring you the end of November motorhome market update. So let's start today's vlog with a little perspective of what is happening out there on dealer forecourts for used motorhomes. Now, we are coming to the end of November, so right now we are seeing a lot of advertising for Black Friday deals. We are seeing biggest sales ever, and we are seeing factory direct offers on many of the dealer forecourts. But which one do you believe? Where are the genuine bargains? And are some of these discounts really saving you the money to the level that they should be? And this is the question I've been posing myself as I've considered what is available this month. Put simply, I believe the first part of this jigsaw is that this is now properly a buyer's market once again. And you can see that by the stock levels that are sitting across pretty much most of the motorhome dealers, whichever part of the country you are looking at. And even more so in some of the bigger dealers who seem to have quite packed outside forecourts. If we take the likes of a Brownhills and a Loudhams and a Chelston, these have a lot of vehicles on offer. So they are sitting on a lot of pre-loved used second-hand stock. So this is important because we're now getting a lot more comparables for like motorhomes across the UK. Over the last couple of years, and particularly with that COVID bounce coming back through, at times it's been difficult to find comparators for some of the vehicles that are on sale. Now, this has worked as an advantage to some of the dealers because they could pretty much pitch them at whatever price point that they felt was going to get the buyers hooked in. Now, this has slowly waned over the last couple of years as the stock has come back through. Prices have started to settle because the competition around like-for-like motorhomes is starting to come back onto the dealer forecourts. And that is something I've really noticed in doing a sweep through the dealers and across Auto Trader this month. So today, I want to look at some of the big dealers. I want to look at some of the used stock in particular. And I want to consider those questions around, are these genuine Black Friday deals? Are these the biggest sales ever? Or is this bringing the market back down to where it needs to be? So we'll get into this, we'll have a little look at some of the dealers and we'll consider some of their offerings now and also show you some of the savings that are available. Over at MB then, there are a couple of good used Baileys here, look, coming in under £40,000 and quite a bit of money off in their Black Friday sale across a number of their used vehicles, and a wide selection of some of the more premium European models too on the MB website. So it is worth having a good little shop around across all the dealers really, as there are more realistic and more sensible pricing coming through on these vehicles. Kimberley Caravans has a similar picture here with some good quality used vehicles, some under that £50,000 price point on sort of 17, 18, 19. What I will show you here though is they do have a 2022 Auto Trail tracker that I think is a little bit overpriced, this SB, probably by good £6,000 or £7,000 really. And also this Travel Master, which 2 years old, you can get a new one for about 110 right now. So not sure why you would pick that one. Here we see quite a few examples now starting to come through under the £50,000 price point in the used market. This is the selection from Brownhills, where there's a vast range of Auto Trails, Eldis and Swifts. Some of their good quality ones like the Besser cars, the Auto Trail trackers. And as you just nudge over, you'll see that there are some in the £50,000 to £60,000 price point, like this Swift Champagne, that has now got a big chunk of money off to bring it at a reasonable price point. As you can see, this is a 3.5-year-old vehicle. It is a Brownhills dealer special based on the Swift Escape as it was. That is quite high spec for the vehicle that it is. The next piece of the jigsaw then has to be the basic economics of buying and owning a motorhome, and particularly when you're buying one out of the used market. And here there are two things that have been really at play over the last 2 or 3 years. One has been the inflationary pressures, and two is the depreciation that hasn't had a normal pattern given the balance of the market in the post-pandemic world. So, as we've said in the first part of this vlog today, the markets are flooded again, the forecourts are as packed as they ever once were, and there's plenty of choice for the buyer. That's the buyer's market. But what we've seen is this inflationary pressure on all goods and services hit us over the last 3 years in particular. So if we take a notional inflationary price rise on all the goods and services, used vehicles are going to cost a bit more than they did, say 4 years ago, before the market really had its boom in that pandemic period. So taking that out of the equation and having this inflationary pressure, the cost to buy your used motorhome is going to be slightly increased for its age and its condition and the vehicle that you choose compared to where it was 4 years ago. And I think the notion that, prices aren't back to where they should be and they need to come down lower, the market's not back where it should be, I think it may be getting there. And I want to do that with a real example. So here is a picture of our first motorhome, which we bought in 2021. This was our Bailey Autograph 75-2, and this cost us at the time £52,000, so 2 years old, second hand from a main dealer, and that was what got us going. Now, I believe we bought that at a point before prices really took off, before demand for the 2021 touring season kicked off, and that influx of buyers into the market came along as new ones weren't being built. There were delays in parts. If you remember, there were delays in chips for the cabs, and we probably bought right at the sweet spot, really, I think, for what we got. Now, you have to consider that that motorhome has then sold twice again since we owned it. We have cheekily tracked it as we've gone along, and you may have seen that in one or two of our earlier vlogs. But the dealer that we traded it into has sold it twice again. Now, interestingly, we pretty much got back not far off what we paid for it a year later. So when we traded it in 2022, we were probably only about £1,000 adrift in what we'd paid for it against what we got as a part exchange. And by no means in a normal world would that have been the norm. This was just the market at that time. So what happened to that motorhome was it sold for almost £60,000 because the dealer made his little markup on it at that point. And that was almost £8,000 more than what we originally paid for it the year before. And when it came back to the market a second time, it went on at an even higher price. I think it was at £62,000 when it landed on the dealer forecourt. So almost £10,000 more than we'd originally paid. And in a normal market with depreciation, you wouldn't see the cost of a used vehicle rising to that level. But this is what was happening. But now that is kind of dissipating in the motorhome used market. So what have we been taking a look at? Well, I'm going to walk you through some dealer websites, some of the vehicles that they have on offer, and bring to life for you right now what genuinely are the prices, the state of the market, and the discounts that you can find for certain vehicles, and some of the considerations as I narrate us through the current market at the end of November. First up then, we have this Naus Sky, discounted at TMD Motorhomes. This is an example of a layout that seems to be quite readily available at the moment, and that's the twin single beds. There seems to be quite a few of those on dealer forecourts from lots of the manufacturers. But this is a 4-year-old example with a decent mileage, decent specification, and is a good example of a quality vehicle. As is this Chausson Titanium, again discounted, great popular European motorhome, good layout, good space, good spec, again available from TMD Motorhomes, only a couple of years old, low mileage, lots to offer. And at the other end of the spectrum, you've got things like this Eldis AutoQuest. This is a 2008, but reduced down to 24,995. Good little starter motorhome available out there. And that is a picture at the moment. There's quite a few of these entry level available. Another option is this recently discounted by £5,000 Swift Escape, previous generation. Relatively new still, good condition, rear island bed setup with the nice dinette. This is just 4 years old. Another Swift for you over at Brownhills now. This one again recently discounted, brings it under £50,000. Slightly older on the 2018, but a good quality, higher spec vehicle here, if that's your option. Again, it is with the twin single beds on the sofas, or you make that up into a large double. So there's a lot of these two-berth vehicles coming through. Here's another look at the Auto Trail Tracker. This is the one with the twin beds at the back. Still think this is a little bit rich. I've seen some trackers go in with a better layout for around the £60,000 mark on the 2272. So I think Kimberley are asking just a little bit much for that one at the moment. So please, if you're looking at them, shop around. Over at South Hereford, they have got what seems to be a genuine Black Friday sale on, and there are some really good buys on their forecourt. Manuals, automatics, Swifts, Auto Trails. Good selection of his little F-lines coming through into the market now, as well as a good supply of used Eldis. The examples of the Baileys again from MB, coming in at a good starter price point, as well as a nice selection up there at MB in Cheshire of the more premium vehicles like this Bursner. Well, I hope you can see there are lots of things at play, and there are lots of factors for you to keep considering if you're looking for your next motorhome, and if that is in particular a used one. My final thought, and I'll prop in here a couple of examples for you, is at the lower end of the market, so vehicles from 2010, 11, 12, 13. There seems to be a greater influx of those on some dealer forecourts too. Prices still seem quite punchy. There's a lot of stock at that level around the sort of 25, 28, 30, £32,000 mark. Still seems quite rich for something that's now fast approaching sort of 10 to 15 years old. So again, look at those with caution. Consider carefully what it is you're wanting to buy, but there is more availability at that lower end of the market than we have ever seen for some time over the last 3 years. So that just leaves me to say thank you. Thank you for tuning into the channel. Thank you for your likes and subscribes. Now, I've had a great number of new subscribers over the last month or so. So if you haven't done so yet, please consider giving me a subscribe. I understand from my analytics, I think I've got about 4,000 regular revisitors to the site. So if you would be willing to give us a like and a subscribe on these, it really would be appreciated. I do try and put quite a bit of time into these for you, and I do hope you find them useful. I really welcome your feedback and your comments. I try and answer as many as I can as we go through with the videos coming out. So the 2 guys, 2 dogs, 4 wheels. We have got a quieter December, 1 trip planned between Christmas and New Year, and we'll share that with you in the new year. But again, thank you, and we will see you very soon.